It says
There you go.
recording.
Okay, I'm gonna try to hop off and hope that everything was okay. Have a great meeting, everybody.
Okay,
Thanks,
thank you,
Michelle.
Michelle.
Thanks, Michelle.
Welcome.
Take care.
Okay, I'm going to call the Rogers Lake Authority meeting to order at 7:39. Nicole, do you want to read the minutes from the last meeting?
Sure. So a meeting of the Rogers Lake Authority was convened at 7:30 p.m. on October 14th. The following members were present: Dennis Overfield, Richard Smith, Robert Recor, Tony Phillips. The minutes were recorded itself. 4 local attendees also joined the meeting was also at 7:30. The minutes from were read aloud. Motion to accept made by Dick. Bob second. There was nothing to report in Lake Patrol and report under weeds. Under budget, the board reviewed each budget line item. Old business, the Rogers Lake Authority boat was repaired and winterized. The board would like to schedule Deep to come to the lake next season. The sandbar buoy has been pulled from the lake. The dam sluice has been sent to Deep for review. It will then be Rogers Lake Authority board members for approval. Once approved, the proposal will be sent to the town. The lake drawdown was successful. The lake will begin filling up on October 22nd, and discussion took place about how to handle Lake Patrol next season. New business, Rogers Lake would like to have GPS coordinates for invasive weed pulling to collect a quote from C&D. And they would also like to begin reviewing the Rogers Lake ordinances in January. David Post from Yale may come back for another presentation on water quality and the Alewives study. Motion to adjourn made by Tony, Dick second, and the meeting ended at 8:30.
Okay, any discussion? I'll entertain a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous. All approved. Okay. So the first thing on the agenda is to go over the budget, and I sent out the budget expenses through November 4th. And, you know, just looking down through it, we're a little overspent by $114 for the water testing. Everything else looks pretty much in line, and we have almost 67% of our budget left for basically next spring. So it would appear that we're in pretty good shape. Any discussion?
Dennis, how does the carryover go into all of this?
That is a very good question. The Lime, I know Lime does not do carryover. And since our budget is split 50-50, I'm not certain how that works.
So we might have half of $20,000.
Isn't it a fiscal year budget and not a calendar year budget?
Yes, a fiscal year budget, and Lime has told me flat out they don't do carry forwards.
Yeah, but a fiscal year is July 1 to June 30th.
Correct.
So there shouldn't be any carryover right now because we're still within the same budget year.
No, this is from the previous year.
From
This is from-
2019?
From 18-19.
Well, it's actually from 1920
Right, from 1920 to
because
20.
we're in 2021 right now.
Aren't we in 2021?
Yes.
Yes, we are.
So
Yeah.
how much is carried over from last fiscal year's budget? Like, how much did we end June 30th to carry over into July 1, 2020 through June 30th, 2021?
So
Is that, was it
the
more
line
like the
item,
weeds?
the line item on that second page it's down, looks like line 137. It says RLA treatment survey.
Yep.
There's 20,500 in that. That's what line carried forward. But as to, if we did any expenditures out of there, Lime, I know doesn't do carry forwards. So theoretically, 10,250 would be Lime's part of that carryover, but they don't do carryover. So
But couldn't we just put a deposit down on future services?
no, I'm sure that doesn't work. I wasn't expecting this carryover to even be there because of this issue. I'm just surprised it showed up. But that's something I need to ask Nicole Finance about.
Okay.
So, okay. Today, I got a request for the 21-22 budget. And I sent out an email late this afternoon about that, which shows, expenditures for the 3 fiscal years. And I guess what we know from Bob Recor and I went down and saw Nicole Stouter, the finance person, last year. And she said we had until March to submit a final budget. What came through with the email that I got with this budget request is that they want a 0% increase.
Oh, really?
And so, because we really don't know what's going on now yet,
Yeah, fair enough.
let's just put in what we budgeted for last year for each line item. And I'll submit that. And it sounds like if we don't submit anything, then we're out, sort of. We need, in other words, we need a placeholder to.
So I understand zero increase, but is anyone concerned about weed treatment the weed treatment amount, which is 22,000? It historically has been 35,000, and we didn't do a treatment this year, and we're looking at possibly expanding and doing some hand pulling. So does anyone have a concern about that? And I know that we can move money from one line to another line.
Well, supposedly we have 20,500 from the carryover. So we really, until I get clarification, I would say we have 42,000 for weed treatment in survey.
Or at least 32,000 if it's just 10 out of the 20%.
If it's 50%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much is the muscle survey we have to do or whatever that thing is?
I got a a verbal quote almost a year ago of 7,000.
Okay.
So maybe it's 8 now. I
Is
don't know.
won't that fall in this year in the 21, 22?
Well, that has to be submitted by December 31st, 2021. So, but that's when the report's got to be done. I don't know if they, if it has to be, within 6 months of the report being issued, or I don't know the timing from when they look and when the report is issued.
Okay. I'm sorry, I ask this question every meeting and I can't keep it straight, so I apologize up front.
Well, I can't either, so.
All right, so, but wouldn't that mean that we need to include something for that? Because that would, if it's due December 2021, that would probably, unless we do it between now and June, we'd have to do it between next July and December.
Right. So I guess the thing I need to do is get a hold of Nicole and ask about this carry forward, because if they carried forward this year, let's just plan on carrying it over to the next year.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would solve it for sure.
If we don't need to use it for the muscle study,
Right.
10.
Now, the other thing, I reached out, we talked about doing another study this coming summer, and we talked about having the Connecticut Experimental Station do it, because they've done studies in the past. And I reached out to that Greg Bugsy that heads up that and said, I only sent it out yesterday, asking, could we get on his schedule to do a study this coming year? And I said, would you be able to get it done before June 30th? Or would it be after July 1st? And I haven't heard from him, but the thing that I need to probably quiz him on a little bit is, when we went to that Connecticut Federation of Lakes thing last September, they were, we were just starting the Procellacor treatment, and it's supposed to be good for 3 years. So Greg Bugsby, he was involved in a lake like the winter before where they put this out. And so I'm going to hang that carrot in front of them, saying we used Procellacor, and maybe, that might entice them to get us on the list too.
Hmm.
Dick, I don't know, did you print out this? Well, it doesn't matter what budget you look at. If you look at the budget if you didn't get a chance to print out this budget request, you can just look at where their current thing is as of November 4th. Let's just go down through it line item by line item. So for the boat launch attendant, we had $8,211 that we budgeted, and we've only spent $3,700. So we really haven't even spent half of that amount. For whatever reason, on this budget request thing, they had the RL Ranger in there. I don't know why that keeps showing up. So then the RLA clerk, I don't know, Nicole, have you been getting paid? It shows.
Yep.
Okay. It shows we only spent $136 out of 1,300. But, well, so then the RLA dues, the Connecticut Federation of Lakes, they seem to have closed up shop. There's just been no communication. I was just online looking, and everything's dated 2019 for the last postings they've had. So I haven't had any, I haven't gotten a request for dues, or I don't really want to send in dues if they haven't, if they folded. So that 200 is there. The water testing, we budgeted 7,600 and we spent 7,700. I don't quite know why that, but anyway, that's about what we expected. The patrol boat, we budgeted 9,000 and we've only spent 4,500. So again, we really just have May and June. We just have 2 months to go on that. So we're going to have monies left over there, and I'm pretty sure we had quite a bit left over last year too. But I think basically we've been trying to keep that number up so it had some flexibility to move stuff around. The weed treatment, again, I haven't reached out to do anything about weed treatment or weed pulling or anything like that. I haven't done anything there. So I do not know where, if we did hand pulling, what that would cost. The signage, we had 3,000 in there. That $395 is for the sandbar buoy. The sign down at the Cove was paid out of last year's budget. So we got quite a bit left over there. The newsletter, we know that number's a pretty good number, and we're going to spend that. The boat expenses, we've spent a little more than half on that, but we shouldn't have a lot of startup on the boat in the spring because, we had the repairs done. So I would say we're in good shape there. But the reason I'm bringing this up now is that one of the things we talked about is we typically don't have a meeting in December, and they want this December 15th. So I'm thinking I'm just going to put in a request for the exact same dollars that we have now.
I think that's a good idea.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
You said we can always change it anyway before March or whatever.
Yes, that's right.
So we should, put it in there.
Okay, good. We won't, once we start up again in January, we can start talking about it in detail. Okay, well, that was under new business. There wasn't even on the agenda. It just came up and I wanted to get that done. Dick, did you get the name and contact information for that deep patrol guy?
No, I haven't yet.
Okay. Yep. So look for that because that jet ski, I don't know if you've seen him out, but he's, these last warm days been down in front of me jumping waves. I go out on the dock and I videoed him, but yesterday he came down And I went out on the dock and he disappeared. Well, within 10 minutes, he's back. I go back down and he's yelling at me. Did you get a good video? So I don't know where he's coming from, but he certainly knows that he's not supposed to be doing it because he takes off.
Yeah, well, that's Will. That's our buddy out on the lake out here all the time. He lives right down over here off the point by, I can't think of his name now. But he's trying, that's his new jet ski. His father takes him out the boat out here. They come right off the end of my dock, make waves, he jumps them. He knows. He's the one that's always causes all the problems. He's the one that bothers Ray.
Okay. So, well, I got some good videos. So if you come up with his name and number, let me know because where do you think he launches it from?
He keeps it right at his house. He lives on the lake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's Will Ferguson's his name.
And is he on Grassy Hill,
No, he's on,
West Shores?
what's it? Shore Drive.
Okay.
No, not Shore Drive.
Well, wait a minute now, hang on. What's his name?
It's like, what's the name of that one where the grants like, go down White Oak and
He's right over here off the point by Dave Evers. Where
Okay.
Osceola, off of that?
no,
No?
it's that short road.
I don't know, because you take the street that went to Dave's house. When you come to the end, if you take that right, you go down a little loop, and he's right on end in the point there by the right of way.
Okay. But I would like to call him in because he's just, we just don't need this harassment. And
No, he knows. That's why he knows nobody's out there. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's all right. We got another fellow out here too. Got legal inboards, towing his kids skiing. No observer. He's been doing it now for weeks. So we got him out there doing it now.
Yeah.
It's Lake Drive, I think.
I think Will lives on Lake Drive.
Okay. Bob, you there?
I'm here.
You want to talk about that grant that
Sure,
stuff that
I
you
would.
looked at?
Okay. With respect to the email that you sent over, I spoke with a young lady up in Hartford by the name of Megan Lally, and she's at the DEEP's water monitoring group in Hartford. DEEP had nothing to do with the grant, and she was, as a courtesy, helping Tony Marino in support of water monitoring in Connecticut. From our lengthy conversation, I feel if we run into a problem with DEEP locally, I would call Megan and perhaps get more direction. And so it's just, I'll keep that in the file. And if there's anything that comes up, I think this young lady would be very helpful. I also spoke with Tony Marino from Rock Fall Foundation in Middletown regarding the grants, and they'll be awarded in support of projects regarding preservation, conservation, restoration, or education, and respect for natural resources. He asked what we would be requesting, and I mentioned we've had a problem with invasive weeds for several years, and he said, well, why don't you consider harvesting? And I said, we've done that for several years, and that was only to help spread the invasion. I said, we finally had to use an herbicide, and he wasn't real happy about that one. So we would also have to involve the town and have to handle many preliminary processes in order to submit, an application for a grant. And fortunately, yesterday was the deadline for requests. So, as I mentioned to you earlier, Dennis, I don't think that we were really ready for that, or that maybe we should be involved with that. And on top of that, I know that the dam situation is coming up, and that's amazing as well. But anyway, if there's a question on this granting, let me know. I'll try to answer it now.
Yeah, this was, I got an email. I'm on one of Deep's email lists, and I saw this thing about grants for water study, water quality testing, and I passed it on to Bob to look at. But basically, they required that, you know, because we're in two towns, the selectmen had to be involved, and they wanted a full, thought-out project. They weren't just going to give us money to think about doing something.
No.
What's the
So-
order of magnitude of grants that they consider? I mean, what, do you have any idea how much money they have or what they were looking, what they
Oh,
can
gosh.
provide?
Yeah, it's if I could put my hand on it, it was a considerable amount. Let's see. Sorry about that. From 1,000 to 25,000.
Okay.
So,
Let's see.
yeah, that sounds about
Typically
right.
range between 1,000 and 5,000, but may be requested in any amount up to 15,000. Okay, that's what it says. The available pool is for all grants is 25,000. So I hope that answered the question.
Yeah, it does. I think, I mean,
So Janelle, I have to submit an annual report. And when I was going through it, you had made up those fishing line recycle things, but you never deployed them, right?
I'm missing a set of labels, and the state has not sent me a second set. And I can't find a vendor that just gives me one set of labels that is for external use.
Okay, that sounds about right for the state, I guess.
Yeah, so I could write or stencil on it. I could do that in lieu of a label. I don't know how that would look. But the one I have everything. I can put one at the boat launch. I can do that. It's the one for Haynes Park. I don't have the set of labels.
Okay.
Tell us where you did the buoy, Dennis?
Yeah, I guess I'm wondering if we go over to that computer signs
Yeah.
place where I did the,
Is that next to the bird seed place?
yes.
Yeah.
I went there, and they won't do just one set.
So buy two. I don't
It
know.
was cost prohibitive.
Oh, wow.
And I
Damn.
looked online, and I looked at other vendors in the area, and I struck out.
Okay. All right. So I guess in the spring you had to zing Deep again and see what's going on.
But do you know if they're in the office
I do
or are they
not.
working from home?
I do not know what the status of Deep
I
is.
can reach out again and try him, but if he's not in the office, then he's not going to have access to the labels.
Yeah. Well, I guess, that's why I'm thinking let's wait till the spring and maybe things will improve and somebody will be around that'll help you.
Yep.
Because we don't need them deployed now anyway. So,
Yeah, no one's out fishing, although the past couple of days people have been out because it's nice.
yeah. So,
Think the prison could do it for us? We took the time the prison made it, could they do something like that?
oh,
I know, do the prisoners do labels?
I,
They're like a vinyl. They're like a vinyl label.
I don't know, they did the sign.
they just do metal stuff.
Oh, metal, okay.
Yeah. License plates, stop signs, etc.
I'll have to try and find something. All right.
Yep.
I'll look around.
Okay. Okay. So the major thing, is there any other new business before we get into the dam operation? Okay, if not, I'd like to turn it over to Mark. And so basically, Mark has put together the dam operation and maintenance manual, and I sent out the copies to everybody. And we have feedback from Deep and Yale. Mark, I guess I'll turn it over to you while I look for my.
Your copy? Fair enough. So basically what we wanted to do with this document was to provide sort of for someone that's new to the operation of the lake, or a way to look at a little background on what the lake is, the dynamics of the water coming in and out, some specifics about the dam itself, and then, what we do with our operation. In factors to consider, including springtime with the fish ladder, and what to do with heavy rainfall. I think it also wanted to point out the limitations of what the dam is. It's not truly a flood control device. It is, it's not made to do that. Although we can, within range, control the level of the lake. We're also, I think, one difference in this from the other operating manual is that we're sort of setting the standard of the normal level of the lake is at the level of the spillway. And it will go up and down from there, but our target sort of is to keep it at the level of the spillway. Walk through this in more detail if you want, or I can take questions if that would be easier if you have had a chance to review it.
At one point that under operations,
Yeah.
that level of 21 inches, man, once you go over 16, you're going to have a hell of a lot of people without water.
Okay.
I don't know where that 21 came from, but we was having problems down to 14 when people were starting, the water was slowing down. They couldn't do more than one thing at a time. So
All right.
once you get 16 and over, you're done.
Well, let's make it 16 then. That's fine.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we've never gone to 21 inches,
That 21 came from one of the engineering reports, and I don't know exactly where they got information, but if real life experiences that it's 14 inches, then we should use that number. I agree.
Well, as I said, that was what we always based it on, was 16. I mean, that's why we flirt with it when we're even going down to 14 for the drawdown sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, so it's
Nicole, you
changed.
said you had trouble with water when it was during the last drawdown?
We did.
I didn't, but there were people in the area here where it had slowed down. They couldn't do more than one thing at a time. It would take time to recover, their tank. You fill the tank back up because they were having trouble, getting water.
Yeah.
My neighbor
They didn't go
lost
out.
they lost everything. They had to have a truck parked in their driveway for water. They lost everything across the street.
Is that this year?
Yeah, yeah.
We had a company come out to give us an estimate to have a new well drilled, and he told us that we were like the 6th or 7th person in our neighborhood that wanted a new well drilled, but so many of the properties are too small, they don't fit the criteria that the town requests in order to have a new well.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Is it better now that the lake's up?
It is.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So my neighbors across the street, the truck is still in their driveway, and it's better, so they have some water flow, but not like they had before.
Okay.
Well,
The lake
I would-
is,
Go
how
ahead.
far is the lake down now, Mark?
So we're down, we have 6.5 inches to go to meet to hit the spillway. So we're up 5 inches from where we were, 5.5 plus.
Wow.
Because out ahead us today, we are at 1.56 on your scale.
Mm-hmm.
Scale there. And yeah, so we've got about half a foot to go.
Wow, that's not, well, hopefully this rain will bring it back up, but let's change that 21 inches to 16.
Yes.
Um,
No, for sure.
but Nicole, now are you able to use normal use now, or you still gotta watch what you do?
Been kind of watching, like I can only do like one load of laundry a day. So,
Uh-huh.
and they're like 5 or 6 weeks out in order to get the house to drill a new well.
Really?
Do you have enough room to drill a well?
Yeah, we have plenty of.
Okay, but there's others that don't.
That's what the contractor said. He said the town's really strict with their regulations and the property sizes. He said people are moving their septics in order to be able to drill a new well.
Yeah, I know
You need
that's
75 feet
Yeah,
between the septic and the well.
right.
Well, you can go down to 55 with a state exemption.
Okay.
Okay.
When I redid mine, his well's in his basement, and I was like 53.5 foot from his, and I got a state exemption to put my septic in. So I was lucky that way. So I mean, you can with a state exemption get down to 55. Anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Dick. That's good to know. Because I suspected that might be a little much, but that's helpful.
Yep.
Are there any other general questions or comments?
No, I think everything else is fine. And just, that was the only point I had.
so.
I thought you did a great job on this. Really, really good work. I just found one typo, the contacts at Rogers Lake Authority where it lists you and Dennis. It says contracts instead of contacts.
Okay, thank you.
Who's going to be the poor person who's going to run this? You, Dennis? I mean, Mark?
Well, I think Dave Evers definitely has a lot of, he's got a lot of concern on this. I think the main reason I'm doing this is that every summer we have issues with people downstream complaining they don't have water.
Right.
And this is, an effort to put an end to that, which it seems to have done this year. In that, the person we know that was giving us big grief definitely called me up and said they were very happy.
Well, that's good.
Mark, I had one other thing. On the bottom of page 5,
Yeah, I see. It's the local state official should be on the next page.
yeah, do a page break there so
Yeah.
that
Thanks.
okay, and just for everybody's information, these people that are listed as contacts, these are all stakeholders. And I've also, one of the stakeholders that was quite concerned was this Dick O'Connor. And Mark, you sent him a copy of this for his input, and I guess you haven't heard anything from him.
I haven't heard anything. I mailed him a hard copy.
So,
Yeah, he's been one of the biggest grief downstream.
Yeah.
Connor, yeah.
And he's the one that called me and said all great things, that he was happy this year.
Oh, good.
So, but what we found is, with the alewives and deep opening the fish ladder, there was a lot of ramifications when we were opening the sluiceway. And also then we found out from Yale and also Deep that they were concerned about the alewives leaving. Well, I think we kind of lucked out in that we didn't luck out. There's a minimum flow requirement out of the lake. And so by us opening the sluice gate an inch, that provided the escape for the little alewives to leave. So we kind of killed two birds with one stone. We have a happy customer downstream, and Yale and Deep are happy because the alewives were able to escape. So, I spoke with that Andrew McDonald at Yale, I guess maybe it's 3 weeks ago, and they're on the lake about every 2 weeks, and he's not seeing any the alewives, so they're happy with the fish coming in and the fish leaving. And also his comment is that and also from the Deep guy, is when the alewives can't leave, there's no food, whatever they're eating. And he says they have lots of food in the lake for them. But the Deep people were concerned about other ponds and lakes where the fish couldn't get out. They're all starving and dying, I guess. So.
Hey, Mark, I have a question for you.
Sure.
On page 4, it talks about the slide gate wheel being secured, chained, and padlocked.
Yes.
Should there be something about who has a key?
Sure.
No, I'm just asking a question.
No, I think that's a good point. I'm trying to think how to word it. I think that,
Well, I'm wondering about on page 1 at the bottom, it says ownership and responsibility. And basically we're saying that the town of Lyme assigns a designee. I'm wondering if somehow maybe it can get added into there,
Yeah, I would think so.
or because that's where, theoretically the town, they did. The town of Lyme, old Lyme, gave Dave Evers the key. And so basically he's the designee as far as Tim Griswold's concerned. And we've just, taken it on to try to put some document in place here.
Well, Dave Evers wanted it, so that's why they gave it to him.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, he has no, other than he was given the key, he has not designated by any process to have that key.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just trying to think of some wording that would.
Well, just leave it like it is and let the people call up and ask the town, who's the designated person? Let them call the town. That way they don't have to put anything down and just call up to the town and say, who's the designated person?
Because I think it's Public Works that keeps all the master keys around.
Yeah. Well, someone got keys anyway, so. There's always bolt cutters.
That's true.
That's been
That's
done before.
I don't know, Janelle, I'm a little concerned about, this is going to be a public document.
Yeah.
And so I don't want anybody calling up and saying, I want a key to the,
Right, so should it say something like the key for the gate is, is controlled by a designee of the selectmen for Old Lyme?
Yeah, something like that, because if you put somebody's name down there, they'll be getting phone calls like crazy.
yeah.
And we also don't want to have to change this document too often. So if you put a name, it could need changing a year from now.
Yeah.
Well, that's.
Okay, I can modify it along those lines. And I think, Janelle, when you mentioned it, I was thinking, yeah, in an emergency, it'd be nice to know who's got
Who has a key?
a key, but Dick answered that. I have a bolt cutter. I think probably a bunch of other. So I think that's the solution if they can't find somebody.
Yep.
But I'll make that change.
Fine.
Okay, so I guess I'm looking for a motion to approve this document with the changes that have been noted.
I'll make a motion that we approve this document with the changes we just made.
I'll
Okay.
second that.
Second,
Okay. All those in favor?
Wait a minute. I have one question. Why do we have to list the downstream stakeholder? I mean, who are they in this? I don't get it.
That downstream stakeholder has a deep fish ladder on their property.
Okay, all right.
And when we open the sluiceway too far and the fish ladder is open, it washes out his property.
Boy, I must have washed out a lot of his property then.
It did. Deep was there, and there's a riprap rock on this alongside this fish ladder, and it takes it right out. And then Deep is back in there trying to repair it.
Huh.
So should it say downstream stakeholder dash location of deep, what did you say was there?
Fish ladder.
Fish ladder? Look, I mean, it just seems confused to me. It's confusing why that person's listed, but if it said location of fish ladder. No, somebody wants.
No, I think you're right. Why is he listed?
Yeah. No, I think that's a good idea.
I think in parentheses after stakeholder, write deep fish ladder, maybe. And then that clarifies why he's on the list.
Yeah.
Good work, Tony. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so it's up for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. So I guess
The
the
changes
next,
and send this to everybody. Do you want another copy or?
yeah, I think you should mark it up and send everybody a copy,
Okay.
and then or send the RLA members copies, or
Yeah.
and I can print out a copy for Dick and Bob Recor because I know they're having computer issues still.
Okay.
I don't know if it's computer or old age.
Yeah, well, we'll get you a copy. So then I guess the next step is to get a meeting with Tim Griswold and present this to him and say, do you have any interest, or does this need to be made more official? Or, you know, how it seems like this should be controlled to some extent so that we can back away from this and the selectman can list whoever he wants to take this over. But at least whoever gets it, if they're not following the procedure, you know, there's something in place that says, here's what you got to be doing.
Yep.
So I guess Mark and I will try to set up something with Tim Griswold, and basically we'll talk with Michelle Noren that set up our web thing here, and she'll help us proceed properly.
Okay.
Any other new business? What about a meeting for December? Anybody want to meet?
Not
I don't
really.
care. Personally, I don't care. Either way, whatever everybody wants.
Well, I guess if there's no
Burning desire.
burning desire, I guess we need a motion, I guess, to not have a meeting in December?
I move that we don't have a meeting in December.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so carried. So Nicole, I guess besides putting in the minutes, you gotta let the towns know,
That won't be a meeting.
because theoretically, the schedule we put out said we would have a meeting every month.
Okay, yeah, that's no problem.
Okay. Okay, any other comments? Things we need to go over? Okay, I'll entertain the motion to adjourn.
I did think of one thing from last month's meeting. So those coordinates for the weed pulling, who was going to contact someone to see if we could get the coordinates?
That was my responsibility, because when we do the request for quote, they need specifics.
Locations. Uh-huh. Okay.
What's the location and what is at that location? And how big the location is, so that people would know. And then somebody brought up that, oh man, maybe it was Dick, that, you know, we'll reach out to that pond and lake connection, but we'd really like, I expect it's going to be, you know, thousands of dollars. I think you said the finance person, they have somewhere they put out a listing of things that people can quote on.
Yeah, I forget what they call it. You can ask them about that. They put out quotes. Yep.
So I think, you know, we want to, once we get this request for a quote, you know, set up, then we can do that, Tony.
Okay. All right.
But that's how we'll proceed.
All right.
Okay.
All right, everybody have a good Thanksgiving
Yes.
Yep.
with your immediate family only.
Yes. Stay healthy. Boy, I see 140,000. Yeah. So I guess we need a motion to adjourn.
I thought we did that.
Oh, we did it? Okay. We're all set, Nicole?
No, we didn't do any motions for adjournment.
Oh,
I make a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? So carried.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Adios.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah.